This is a top bar that I recently made to order. Features kind of an architecturally styled roof, covered entryway, inspection panel spanning almost the entire width, and it's about 1.2 meters wide, giving it plenty of room for the brood and then honey at the end. So I'm going to give a quick lesson on how to manage the combs. So we've got a follower board here, and I'm starting this hive out with foundation, wax foundation, glued in with hot wax into the channel. All the other top bars have wooden starter strips. So we would introduce a colony, pouring a colony into here, a couple top bars, follower board to get them started. As soon as the bees have moved up and onto the foundation, we'll actually remove these top bars because they're just acting as spacers. Then let the colony develop for a couple weeks, depending how big it is, maybe a month or two if it's a very small colony, but just a few weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks, they should be drawing out all of these foundations into full combs. Then, when it's time to expand, you want to get in here with your hive tool and make sure that the combs are not connected to the side walls. So you'll carefully poke your hive tool in, separating this comb and moving it across. Likewise, separate the comb and draw it across. Once you've separated it once, they tend not to glue the combs all the way onto the sidewalls again, so this is not something that you have to do on an ongoing basis. So assuming that these combs have been fully drawn out, you're now able to take your other bars and add them in between, like this. Because these combs have been fully drawn out, these new bars, which are starter strips, have no choice but to be drawn down perfectly straight. And it's so critical to do this because if you don't give the bees the foundation, or if you don't give them a channel of 2 drawn combs to build within, they're going to cross comb. They will almost inevitably draw their combs a little bit crooked, and it'll span across 2 or more frames. And then it's very, very destructive to cut that out and make them straight. And without the combs being straight on each of the top bars, you can never open up the hive efficiently without wrecking the combs or killing bees. So what I've also done here, originally before I added these other bars, is I put a line across here at an angle. And that shows us what the original configuration was, so that when we add the new starter strips, the new top bars, you can now see that there's a gap. So next time you come in 2 or 3 weeks later and you need to add more room, you know that these were brand new. You'll be able to see through the window whether they're fully drawn out or not, and you'll know which ones were recently replaced. At that point, you can add another top bar in here if these are both fully drawn, and eventually draw another line across to show you what that new pattern is. Once the hive is full of top bars and fully drawn out, then you don't need the line anymore, although you might still want to do it just so that there's no confusion once you've pulled combs out as to where and which way they're replaced. So that's the key elements to managing a a top bar or Kenyan style hive. Again, this foundation panel, this wax foundation could be added to every top bar, but it's quite unnecessary trouble and expense, as long as the additional combs that you add, the additional top bars that you add, are always placed between 2 fully drawn combs. And make sure that those are fully drawn and straight combs. If they're crooked, straighten them out or put them somewhere else in the hive. Don't start a new top bar if you don't have nice straight combs either side. And in doing that, you'll have nice spacing. You might read online about a question about the width of these top bars. These are all 35 millimeters wide. In theory, for the brood combs, they only need 32 millimeters. Honestly, don't worry about it. The bees really don't care. And when you do this process of always expanding them like this, the bees, and then inserting in between, the bees will use up the available space and it doesn't become a problem. It's not a detail worth worrying about. Good luck with your beekeeping. Thank you.